You can do it. You got to praise His name. You thank
Also,
so they said local on this side.
yeah. Keep on
on this side.
You know what? Look here.
How you doing, Jennifer?
I'm good.
Good. Good to see you. Rob, busy for us. I got to ask this.
Yeah, one more time.
They said local.
Oh, Lord. You know what?
That's right.
In order to
That's
see
a good
Jesus,
idea. That's a good idea.
you got to love everybody.
You been to a lot of meetings lately?
You got to love your neighbor.
That's good.
You got to treat people right that treat you wrong sometimes. You know why I say that? Because love your right. Know that tonight.
They were good safe. They were good. They were the heydays, Mac.
Yeah, I saw them. Well, I noticed that trend.
They said local on this side.
We will be starting in 2 minutes.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing? Good to see you.
Very good to see you. Do we have a particular seat or local on this side, state on that side?
Alex, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Yes, sir. I'm in my place.
First come, first serve, Aaron.
I'm a backseat Baptist. You can't go to a Blackjack Frugal Baptist church without sitting on the back. I mean, you just got to get there early so in the back seat. Back pew. Everybody going to the same 3 pews.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Right here. Right.
Yeah. I got mine set for 7:15. Be able to get on by 7:30.
Working on the drainage office, drainage
On the
district,
agenda, having Steve.
Farm Bureau Board. I missed the Farm Bureau meeting. But I'm supposed to go back to something.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
I'll be obedient.
obedient.
I'll be obedient.
We are a private entity that I'm a part of. What you told us.
My skirt is shite.
Yeah, good to see you.
So I got
It was
to
Carl
across my knees in the
Carl
church.
Bradford. Now, get the thermos. You ain't talking about Sam Floyd. Yeah, I know. We do all, we manage about 400 miles last night. Most of it's Green East. But we have 9 other counties that we manage. Boca County, Wayne County.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see all of you here this evening. I'd just like to welcome you to this opportunity to learn more about our election process, to learn more about our candidates' points of view, and to learn more about how you can become a better voter. America ensures that all of our citizens have the right to vote. For some of us, it's taken lots of amendments and lots of acts, but we all have the right to vote. And the best voter is an informed voter. And that's why these groups decided that tonight we would pull together and ask our candidates to share with you so that you could be an informed voter. Again, greetings. Thank you for coming. Thanks to our candidates for accepting the invitation. We're so glad that you're able to be here with us as well. And now we have a message from the pastor of Cornerstone Missionary Baptist Church. Thank you.
Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you. Welcome to Cornerstone Missionary Baptist Church. We're excited that you've come here and we gathered tonight to participate in this candidate forum. We thank God for your zeal and desire to lead God's people in the realm for which you have chosen. We pray that our deliberations here today will yield fruitful results and that God will bless the work of our hands. To the candidates, to the moderator, to the partners, and to all of you, welcome and may God richly bless you. Shalom.
Good evening. Let us pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Good evening, Father. We come to you on this rainy Tuesday afternoon, evening, saying thank you. God, we thank you for your grace and for your mercy that comes fresh every morning. For this event, of which we come to learn and to hear from some citizens of our community, those who want to make this a better place, we're very thankful. God, we ask you right now to bless each one that has given up their time this evening to be a better citizen. We thank you for these candidates who are committed to Pitt County, who are committed to North Carolina, who are committed to the United States of America. We ask that everything that's said and done this evening be unto you. We pray for safety. We pray for our community to be a better place with leaders that are encouraged to run on to see what the end's going to be. We thank you. We give you all the glory. In your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. I have the honor of introducing to you a moderator. Our moderator for this evening is in the person of Mr. Robert Cherry. Robert Cherry is a native of Bertie County, where the peanuts are. He is the son of Robert Sr. and Ms. Ruth Cherry. They're still in Windsor. He is a graduate of Bertie High School. I don't know why he put that there because there's only one high school in Bertie County. But then he came to the big city of Greenville, East Carolina University, where he made his mark as a college student. Robert is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, the Ada Nu chapter, and he served while at ECU, and he served as on the Student Government Association and a residence hall representative. Upon the request of the ECU Director of Greek Life, he drafted the first judicial board procedure for the National Panhellenic Council. He was awarded the NPHC Fraternity Man with the highest GPA. Y'all, he's kind of smart. With 2 conservative years and admitted to Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society, Phi Eta Sigma National Honor Society, the National Society of Collegiate Scholars, and the Golden Key International Honor Society. He graduated from ECU with a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice and was selected as the outstanding senior of the Criminal Justice Department. As an ECU alum, he has been about the business of his fraternity and NPHC. Recently, he was chosen ECU 40 Under 40 Leadership Award honoree. He was appointed to the ECU Alumni Association Board of Directors and served on the board as chair, vice chair, secretary. He is a member of the City of Greenville Police Community Relations Committee, the Greenville ENC Alliance Board of Directors, and Community Crossroads Center Board of Directors. He has an extensive professional background. Currently, he has a background in property and casualty insurance. He is currently employed with Haggerty Insurance and holds a professional designation as a fraud claim law specialist. So y'all be careful tonight, okay? Who we have here. Robert is a member of Cornerstone Missionary Baptist Church. He is the husband of Nikita and the father of Cameron and Brandon. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the podium who will direct us for the rest of the evening, Robert Cherry.
Thank you, Sister Collington. Please allow me to go over the ground rules for our forum this evening. No campaign banners, signs, literature, handouts, or other campaign paraphernalia will be allowed in the forum hall. Each candidate will be allowed space outside of the forum hall to place these items. The audience will be asked to refrain from applauding or in any other ways demonstrating support or non-support for a candidate. Questions from the audience will be collected by committee members during the forum and used if time allows. These questions will be screened, selected, and edited for clarity by committee members. Opening statements will be limited to 90 seconds. Each candidate for a particular office will be asked the same question and given the same time to answer. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond. A timekeeper seated here in front of you will raise cards designating how much time you have remaining. Once time is expired, each speaker must end their speech within 10 seconds. As moderator, I will have the responsibility for enforcing time limits. I will also have the authority to interrupt the proceedings to enforce ground rules and format as designated. I will restate questions, but I will not ask follow-up questions. As candidates, please do not interrupt each other. Also refrain from personal attacks or charges. Answers should be focused on relevant policy topics. Closing statements will also be limited to 90 seconds. After the forum concludes, each candidate may greet our attendees outside of the forum hall. That concludes the review of our ground rules for this forum. We'll start this evening with our candidates for NC State Senate and NC House of Representatives. Please allow me to introduce those candidates present with us this evening. NC State Senate District 5 candidates include Alexander Pascal and Candy Smith. NC House of Representatives District 8 candidates include Glorstein Brown. We'll begin with opening statements for these candidates, beginning with Glorstein Brown. You have 90 seconds to provide an opening statement, and you're asked to speak into one of our microphones.
Good evening, everyone. I am Glorstein Brown. I am currently serving in the North Carolina House of Representatives, District 8. I am seeking re-election for that position. I have served as town commissioner in Bethel. I was the mayor, and now in this position, I have a total of 25 years of political experience. I just want to say that I know what it is to be down and out. I'm a country girl. I grew up in the country. I know what it is to get out here and work and roll up my sleeves to do what I need to do. And so that is what I'm trying to do, and going to continue to advocate and fight for my district and for Pitt County and for North Carolina to make things happen for the eastern part of our state, because so many things have gone toward the western part of the state. So I'm going to do what I need to do, keep fighting, keep advocating, and keep pushing for what is needed in our district and our area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Alexander Pascal.
Sorry if I take this down. So I'm used to the courtroom. I gotta be able to move around. My name's Alex Pascal. I'm running for the North Carolina State Senate District 5. I'm an assistant public defender here. I've served here the last 6 years, representing folks charged with crimes. My work there, you've got to be a collaborator. You've got to be a community builder. And to get anything done in the General Assembly, you can't get anything done with just one vote. You've got to be there. You've got to persuade others to get on board and vote with you. Sometimes that's convincing members of your own party. And where I think my skill set is, it's convincing members of the opposing party to come together, build consensus. I think that's how I've gotten the best results for my clients in the courtroom, when I'm able to work with prosecutors and judges to get the best result for my client. You've got to be able to work together here. And that's why I'm the best candidate here. My skills in negotiation, my skills with relationship building, it's just absolutely critical to have that in your state senator. And as your next state senator, I promise to build those relationships and bring results back to Edgecombe and Pitt County.
Thank you. Last but not least, opening statement from Candy Smith.
I try to be tall tonight. Good evening. It is wonderful to see you all. Thank you so much for this opportunity to make sure that you're educating yourselves on your candidates. I am Senator Candy Smith. I currently serve District 5, and I have a history of supporting and working in the community. One of the great things is my freshman year when I served in the House, I passed more bills than any Democrat within the House. I was very excited about that because that means I work with everybody who needs to be worked with. I am open, I am transparent, I am accessible, and I think that you guys already know that. But whenever there's issues and concerns, I am known to be a fighter, because I don't back down. I look at those issues and I'm always willing to do those deep dives. So I am excited to serve a second term. I thank you so much for your presence here. And please make sure you're sharing with others to become educated about all candidates. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. That concludes our opening statements. We'll now move into our questions, beginning with Glorstein Brown. The North Carolina General Assembly voted to provide $463 million for the Opportunity Scholarship Program, which will allow more funding for private school vouchers next year. Do you support the use of public monies to fund private school attendance for families in the state of North Carolina?
No. I just want to make sure everybody heard me. I'm sorry. I get frustrated when I hear about that all the time. Let me tell you, no, I did not support it, and I did not support House Bill 10 either. I have a problem with your tax dollars going to private schools when our public schools are being gone without. And our public schools with those vouchers, the cap is off. So anyone can apply for those dollars, and everybody knows that the money that is already sent to our public schools. So if you decide to take your child out of that public school, those dollars go with that child, and if that child comes back, the dollars does not come back. I do not have a problem with school choice. You have a right to choose where you want to take your child, but I do have a problem with the tax dollars going to private schools, because they are not on the same playing field as our public schools are. They are not held accountable. They do not have to accept our children. They do not have to provide transportation. And there are other things, and they don't have to provide a certain amount of data. I heard that someone asked the school for some data, and they did not want to give it. So I'm telling you now, no, our schools are suffering, and it makes no sense. And it is the General Assembly's job to make sure that our public schools are taken care of and not put so much burden on the county to make sure that is done. So I stand boldly to say, no, I do not support.
Thank you. Again, as a reminder, the audience is asked to refrain from any applause or support of one candidate or another as they provide their responses. Thank you. Same question, Alexander Pascal.
Last year, 1 in 9 teachers left the public school system. On the first day of public schools this year, we had 60,000 students without a teacher on their first day. We had 3,000 total teacher vacancies, and we were the top 10 in the United States in teacher pay, in worst teacher pay. That's not a category that we need to be in. In principle, if you want to use private school vouchers, if you are in poverty and you can't afford to go to private school, money shouldn't be the only thing holding you back. For tiers 1, maybe tiers 2, if you want to send your kid to a private school and that's the only thing holding you back, I don't have a huge objection to that. But what we just passed for tiers 3 and 4, I mean, almost $500 million, that's not the best use of taxpayer funds. We should not be subsidizing C-suite employees, kids, CEOs, CFOs in going there. But you need a senator that's going to be present to say no. Not on my watch. And unfortunately, my opponent here, who I think she's probably going to take a similar position, wasn't present for the vote. And she's probably going to say, like she did last time, that, well, we were going to lose anyway. But you got to be present to persuade others and at least let the General Assembly know that the people of Pitt County and Edgecombe County say no.
Thank you. As a reminder, candidates should refrain from any personal attacks or charges against any particular candidate. Candace Smith, same question.
No, I do not approve of the money that was sent to the private schools. When we had a surprise vote, and some people don't really understand how the General Assembly works. This is a part-time job. And so you are expected to make sure that you're working to take care of yourself, and they pay you $13,000 a year. But most of the time we have a set schedule. Well, this General Assembly does not do that. So when they decide to call a surprise vote, and if I'm already doing what I have to do to work, I may not be there. The biggest thing for me is when we have the opportunity to make sure that we're funding Leandro and we don't do it. And Leandro is not just extra money. What it is making sure our children have equal access. So when you say no, although the judges have already said since 1994 that we should be funding it, but you surprise a vote of $500 million to a private school, that is an issue. And so I will continue to make sure that my voice is heard and that I fight in this situation for us to fund our public schools the way that we should. With our private schools for opportunity scholarships, because they do not provide the transportation for students to go there, because they are not certified as far as teachers, all of that does not make a good mix, because all of our children, they're our future and they should be properly educated. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, again, for the State Senate and House of Representatives candidates. This summer, a U.S. district judge blocked state law restricting abortion pill access. What is your view on abortion access, whether through a treating physician or prescribed abortion pill? Again, in the same order, Laura Steen-Brown.
I do not believe that government has a place in the doctor's office telling anyone, women, what to do with their bodies. That is between you, your spouse or significant other, and God. I know my beliefs, but that's still not, I'm not supposed to put my beliefs on anybody. And I think all abortions don't mean bad abortion. I mean, when I say bad abortion, sometimes abortions are needed. And I brought an article where I wanted to share real quick about this Georgia mom that died, that had to come to North Carolina, and she received a pill and she took it back with her. And it is an article, and if I misquote anything, please forgive me because I'm trying to hurry up. But she went back and took the pill, and anyway, the pill reacted, and she started having problems. And because of not being able to get the help that she needed back in Georgia, she went back to the hospital and ended up she lost the fetus in home. And anyway, but the problem thing I'm saying, because I had 2 miscarriages, and they waited 20 hours, and then she started having problems, and she ended up dying. And I can't even imagine that when I had my 2 miscarriages, if I had not had my DNC, she was waiting on the DNC. And if I had not had it, I would have died, because all of okay, Lord have mercy.
You have 10 seconds, Laura Steen-Brown, once time is called.
I'm just saying, if she had had a DNC, she would have lived. And the doctors, they said it was preventable. So I'm just saying, anything, you don't know what their situations are, it's none of our business why people need to do what they do. But I do think there is a problem. Again, we do not need to tell women what to do with their bodies. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexander Pascal.
And the question was initially about access to the abortion pill there. I think that the state law is clearly preempted by federal law in governing that aspect of things. When doctors prescribe things through the mail, I think that the federal law should carry the day there through the Commerce Clause of the Constitution. However, getting kind of to the big picture of abortion access, I don't think the General Assembly is in the best position to be telling doctors how to practice medicine and telling mothers what's best for their family. I certainly don't want the General Assembly telling me how to, or I don't want doctors telling me how to practice law. And I don't want to tell doctors how to practice medicine. I think that that's best left to the American Medical Association and the governing boards, governing doctors. Certainly, we need to ensure safe access to these drugs. If doctors are prescribing them and they see that that is in the best interest of their patient, that should not be disturbed. We should let doctors and patients enjoy that confidentiality privilege and let them make the best decisions that are for their families.
Thank you. Candy Smith.
Okay, how do I feel about it? I think it's ridiculous. We spent a lot of time asking why would they want to do this? Because this is our body, and if we want to start a family, if we need to do anything for medical care, it is not up to us as politicians to tell someone what to do in their household, because we don't want anyone telling us what to do. It is very dangerous. We have a lot of situations where young women are put in some very compromising situations. And so what I've heard from the GOP is we want 100% ban on abortion. We don't care if you've been raped by your father. We don't care if you're about to die. We're going to charge the doctors. We don't care. So we're going to work to get to that point where we say no. We're going to continue to fight because that should not happen. But it takes courage for people to fight against that. It is easy to talk about what should and should not happen, but it's important to have a clear answer. And for me, it is a no. That's something I'm going to fight against 100%. I did when I was on the floor, and I will continue to fight against having politicians tell you how to start your family, what to do with your family, and how to deal with health care between you and your doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next question. In May, the University of North Carolina Board of Governors canceled diversity, equity, and inclusion, also known as DEI programs, throughout the UNC system. Just a few weeks ago, a report found nearly 200 DEI positions were eliminated or reassigned as universities across the state continue efforts to follow this so-called DEI ban. Was bringing DEI to an end the correct move? We'll begin with Cornerstone Brown.
No, I don't think it was good. As a matter of fact, I know it's not good because I went to pull a school just to pull some numbers, and I picked UNC, Chapel Hill, and just looking at already that they have the first year enroll part of their class of 2028 is gone down to 7.8% Black. And when the class of 2027 enrolled, it was 10.5% Black. I just think that, I'm having someone on campus, and you already have students of color that are intimidated somewhat, want to attend, but they feel like they're not going to be treated equally. And I know that's what DEI was going to do to help make sure that those students receive the services that they need to get. And I think that's the reason why, from my understanding, that enrollment has gone up to our HBCUs. They're going where they know that they're going to be treated right and and then the people lost their jobs. You had people that had to be repositioned, job loss. So no, I do not think that taking it away was actually a great thing to have on campus to make sure our students, especially students of color, to make sure that they were taken care of and know that they felt comfortable going there, that they had someone that will help them along the way, because I just do not see this being a fair play. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Alexander Pascal.
My understanding of the university system eliminating the DEI positions was complying with the Supreme Court's recent ruling, where the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill was the named defendant in that case. And it said that you cannot discriminate on when the Constitution says you cannot discriminate on the basis of race, that is what it meant. I think that politically, it's become more of a hot button issue. Said 200 plus positions. My understanding is that those positions are being reassigned. I'm not sure exactly how we needed 200 different people to make sure that our enrollment, our incoming freshman class was diverse. But there's other ways you can control for that outside of discriminating on the basis of race. I do agree that diversity is important. I think diversity of ideas is super important. I think diversity of thought is important. I think cultural diversity is important. There are ways in which you can control for that without discriminating on the basis of race. The idea that you be judged by the content of your character and not the color of your skin is what our law is founded in. I think that that's an aspirational goal that we should continue to pursue.
Thank you. Candy Smith.
Do I think DEI, getting rid of it, was a good thing? No. Because if it was a bad thing, we never would have had it in the first place. So when we start looking at what the Constitution says and what the law says, if the Constitution did not allow us to have DEI, we would have never had it in the first place. So if we really wanted to be equal about it, why don't we get rid of the legacy? Oh, if your parents went there, you automatically can go there. That's discrimination. And so when we begin to make excuses, because they started looking at DEI because a black woman had a firm and started giving out money to other black women so that they could start their businesses. And so because of that, they starting to chip away. What can we do? We think that if you start giving scholarships to black people only and setting them aside for black people, then that's discrimination. Well, why don't you just make sure that you take all race off? Therefore, you can go that way. Well, that won't work. You know why? Because any school that any black person went to, they had to be qualified. They were not allowed to enter the school just because they were black. Some would make you think that. They were entered those schools because they met all of the qualifications. So if they were going to be equal about it and they just took all of the race off of the application and then start just selecting people that way, it would be different. But DEI is an attack on black people at every moment, every corner, every way they can do it. That's what it is, and it is not good. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question. The North Carolina Senate and House recently passed legislation mandating all sheriffs cooperate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement detainers to hold arrested non-citizens until ICE agents can assume custody for deportation. Previously, sheriffs could decide whether to cooperate or not. Opponents say this mandate will separate immigrant families and act as a gateway to controversial stop and frisk policies. What is your response to this mandate, Cornerstone Brown?
Well, speaking with various sheriffs, because, not being in political arena, dealing with law, but from my understanding, I'm a little afraid of it because from my understanding, I was reading an article, I think there's 6 counties that are not, they say they do not have policy or not complying. And in speaking with my sheriff, I don't think she'll mind me saying I talked to her, and they're already doing this. She's already doing this because from my understanding, it was already a law. It was another sheriff that said, why are they putting a law on top of a law that's already in place? And so I asked Sheriff Dance, once someone come through and they go through the process, well, before that person is released, they go through another process to make sure that there's no flags or anything, or they're not wanted and anything of that nature, because if so, they will be held. So I'm trying to understand, and I'm worried about that, what did you say, frisking? Did you use that word in there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm afraid that this may cause that to happen. I see it could be a door that could cause it to happen, but right now I'm just not understanding, because I asked Sheriff, no matter where you're from, everybody gets the same treatment. So if you're already doing it, but it's just like you have some people in place that just decide they want to make sure, they trying to run things, and all I know is I'm a little wary of it. I just don't know, because things start out one way and they end up another way, and everybody is not doing the same thing. Everybody is not working together. I trust law enforcement, but you still have some bad apples out there.
Thank you. Alexander Pascal.
Being an assistant public defender here, I don't think anyone would accuse Sheriff Dance of being a rock-ribbed conservative at all on this kind of issue. And Sheriff Dance, well before this bill was passed, was already complying with ICE detainers. To answer your question, stop and frisk, I see them as wholly disconnected. This had to deal with folks who were in custody and who did not have lawful status, and the new bill actually required that you be charged with a higher level offense. So as far as Edgecombe and Pitt County is concerned, this did not change our standard operating procedure at all. I think that this became a political hot button issue. I think there were a handful of sheriffs throughout the state who ran on some kind of sanctuary sheriff platform, and knew that they had folks in custody who were not lawfully within the United States, who were charged with serious crimes, and ignored Immigration and Customs Enforcement's request to hold them just for 48 hours. And in my experience, every client I've ever had with an ICE detainer was normally gotten within 24 hours. And then they still have due process rights after that. They have immigration hearings. I believe most of them go to Atlanta. There's an immigration court there where they can litigate their cases there. But as far as regionally, I don't see that being a real functional issue. I think that was a political football issue. But I just don't see the connection to stop and frisk. It has nothing to do with officers on the street. They still have to have a reasonable articulable suspicion to stop you on the street and to search you, pat you down. So I would just say it's a non-issue.
Thank you. Candy Smith.
So I am not in agreement with the ICE bill. What it is, when you wonder why did we even come up with it? Well, that's to bring people to the polls. What people don't understand is they have been trying to find social issues that really touch home with people so they can get a lot of people to come to the polls and say things like they're trying to let immigrants come and they're killing everybody and they're doing this and they're doing that and hyping people up. That's what that's about. And if you look at the timing of when it was brought up, look how close it is to the election. So that's why that's done, because the sheriffs are already doing what they need to do. But if you don't say exactly what they want to say, then they will come back with an extra attack to make it seem as though you're not doing your job. So I was speaking with the sheriff in Edgecombe and speaking with the sheriff in Pitt. They're both doing their job. All of the sheriffs are doing what they should do. They just do not feel like they should racially profile anyone. And that's what this bill will do, is allow extra racial profiling. And when you look at stop and frisk, all you have to do is look at the numbers and you know disproportionately who's stopped and who's frisked. So no, I am not in agreement with HB 10 for that reason. Thank you.
Thank you. This will conclude our questions for our North Carolina State Senate and House of Representative candidates. Quickly, if we can have closing statements by each of you, again, limited to 90 seconds. And of course, Royston Brown, we'll start with you.
Again, I want to say thank you to the shepherd of this house and to Cornerstone family and to the moderator and at the time everyone that had a part of this and getting us together. Again, I am Cornerstone Brown running for District House 8. I again stand before you. I make you one promise, and that one promise is I will do the best that I know how. I will continue, as I said, to advocate for my district. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know, and I am proud to stand and represent you in this district, because it's not an easy task. It's like drinking water from a fire hose, I'll tell you that, but that's okay. I will keep fighting. I know that right now we're in the minority, but that's okay. We're going to be fine as long as we can keep doing what we're doing, and as long as you keep doing what you're doing, we're going to make some changes here. And I ask that you go out and vote, and I'm going to beat my colleague to this and say, when you get the ballot in your hand, please make sure you flip it and don't skip it, because we got to make sure that we get everybody in, especially our judges and all. But again, thank you for having me, and I ask for your prayers and your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexander Pascal.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here tonight, because it is important that you know who your candidates are and what they stand for. We are the swingiest of swing states, and we are a purple district, and I'm a purple candidate. I can promise you that I'm not going to play party politics. In order for me to be your next state senator, I need independent support and I need Democrat support. I would be more accountable to all the folks in this room if you were to flip it, don't skip it, and vote for me. Exercise your own independent judgment in each race. Don't just blindly pick a party and follow a party. I can promise you I've never done that my entire life, and I'm not about to start doing that. You don't need to be worried if I'm able to flip this seat, that all of a sudden there's going to be a total abortion ban. I can promise you that is not true. And I can promise you that there are other moderate Republicans that take the same stance, that don't want that. The bill that went through right now, it's 12 weeks. There's folks that wanted 6 weeks, but there was not the political will in the Senate for it. And I will make sure that the political will is not there for going back. And in fact, we can return to the Roe and Casey standard and the undue burden test for those folks. But do your own research, go on the General Assembly website and look who showed up to vote. You heard a lot of strong opinions up here tonight. I encourage you to go and look and see who showed up to vote for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Candy Smith, your closing statement.
Thank you so much again for this opportunity. One of the things that I will say is being in the General Assembly for the last 6 years, I've been nothing but a fighter, and I will continue to fight. Am I there to try to have perfect attendance? No. I'm there to make sure that I'm perfectly serving you. That's what I'm there for. And so when I look at what's at stake, we have to get rid of this super majority, because every veto that our governor has is overturned. And when I listen to the possibility of working across aisles, especially when it comes to the abortion ban and some of the more critical things, I can tell you by serving in the Senate, there was not one Republican in the Senate willing to do so. Regardless of their convictions, there was not one. That's not how they play ball. So it's okay to be nice, but it's important to make sure that you fight. It's okay to be nice, but it's important to make sure that you're standing up for the people that you represent. And that's all people, black, white, red, brown, rich, poor, all people. And so I'm known for having my town hall meetings. I'm known for making sure I reach out to people. And I do that because my job is to make sure I put you first. And if you don't put the people first, then there's an issue. So I am of the people, by the people, and for the people. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Again, this concludes our forum with respect to the NC Senate and House Representatives candidates. Thank you again for joining us this evening. You're free to stay, if you will. We have the unique opportunity to hear from a North Carolina Court of Appeals judge candidate this evening. Carolyn Jennings Thompson is with us. We again thank her for her time, and I will now allow you an opening statement. 90 seconds, please.
Good evening. I bring you greetings from the North Carolina Court of Appeals, where I serve in seat number 12. I was tapped by the governor to take this position when Justice Riggs went up to the Supreme Court, and I've been in this position for a year now, and I have already authored over 96 opinions impacting this entire state. It is, in fact, a statewide position, so no matter where you live in North Carolina, please remember to vote for your appellate judges, because we are, in fact, the firewall for all of the issues that you're hearing here tonight. 27 years in, I've been a district court judge for 10 years, a trial attorney for 13, and then the governor appointed me in 2018, where I was appointed as the first female and the first African-American to serve as a Superior Court judge in the 9th Judicial District. I've also served as a deputy commissioner where I heard cases involving folks who are injured on the job. So now here on this position, I'm asking you, please do not forget to vote for your appellate judges, because without the appellate judges, in comes all of these issues, and we set the tone for the entire state. And I appreciate your opportunity, the opportunity to answer any questions you may have for me tonight.
Yes. Thank you. And we'll keep our discussion broad here.
Sure.
If you will just describe for us your judicial philosophy.
My judicial philosophy is and has always been, for the 20-some years that I've been on the justice field, it is, in fact, to uphold the law and the Constitution equally, without favoritism to party or any agendas. That's necessary when you're looking at all cases coming before the Court of Appeals. I don't get a red file. I don't get a blue file. I don't even get to know party affiliation. These people who are looking for final answers, and I say final answers because the Court of Appeals is, in fact, the last resort for a lot of cases, because now the Supreme Court has determined it won't take all of the appeals. It will not hear certain appeals automatically when there's a dissent. So when I am reviewing the case, I'm looking at the record first, and because I have the experience of creating records as a trial judge and as a trial attorney. I go right in and say, been there, done that. I know what the court was talking about. And if it's wrong, I send it back and make them do it again.
Great. As you close, if there's anything you'd like to discuss and share with us, we'll allow you at this time.
Well, as you can see, I'm the only candidate up here talking about the courts. And that's what happens in the election cycle. People get to the judges and simply skip and say, I don't know that judge, or they'll call the local lawyers and ask, who should I vote for the judges? When we are the ones that are interpreting the laws, we are the ones that determine whether or not you get to stay in jail or you come home, or you get your children back or you don't get your children back. I have heard cases involving termination of parental rights of people whose due process was not protected, and having the ability and the authority to tell the district court to go back and make sure that parents' rights were protected is phenomenal power on this level of court. It is in fact the second highest court that we have in the state, but a lot of people don't know about the Court of Appeals. They only talk about the local judges, but even tonight there are no judges here because for whatever reason, judges are not. That's how we lost Sherry Beasley. Let me just break it down. 401 votes for a Supreme Court justice who held us down and kept us safe during a COVID cycle. 401 votes because people didn't vote for judges. I'm asking you, please remember Carolyn Thompson, JudgeCarolynThompson.com, to see all the things that I've been doing to protect you and my family. To God be the glory.
Thank you. As was noted, our lone candidate for judge in the state of North Carolina this evening, Carolyn Jenin Thompson. Thank you. All right. Moving along with our forum this evening, next we'll have discussion from our Pitt County Board of Education candidates. Those with us this evening include Bishop James Tripp. You'll raise your hand if you recognize Bishop Tripp. Aaron Kessel. Thank you. Amanda Klein. Benji Forrest. Thank you. And Jennifer Matthews. Great. We'll begin this section with opening statements, again limited to 90 seconds, beginning with you, Benji Forrest.
Don't start that clock yet. I want to move this thing up. There we go. First of all, let me say what a pleasure it is to be here this evening at Cornerstone. Thank you so very much for all of the community efforts that you give to make sure that the community, especially north of the river, is very, very much attuned and in tune to what is going on with civic affairs. It's a wonderful event. Before I introduce myself, I do want to say this. 16 years ago, when I first ran for the Pitt County Board of Education, I began at Cornerstone Church sitting in a dinner with the NAACP. And I got the opportunity then to witness what an informed, what a valued citizenry we have here at this church. Now, having said that, my name is Benji Forrest. My wife's name is Pam. I live in a little community called Blackjack. I've lived there all my life. I have been a member of the Pitt County Board of Education for 16 years, and I'm running for re-election for another 4-year term. I would especially appreciate each and every one of you that live in District 9 to consider a vote. And as a matter of fact, Ed Warren taught me years ago, don't consider anything, you ask them for your vote on November the 5th, beginning on early voting on October the 17th. I look forward to discussing anything that you have and as far as questions are concerned this evening. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Ms. Forrest. Next, opening statement from Aaron Kessel.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. I appreciate these events, not only to share who I am, but also to be an informed voter. I love to hear all of the candidates and all that they have to share, because just like you, I'm going to be voting as well. I am a former Pitt County Schools teacher for 12 years, and I taught at Ayden, Grifton, and Creekside Elementary. I'm representing District 6, which encompasses Ayden, Grifton, D.H. Conley, and everything west of 43 in that area. My husband is a high school science teacher at Ayden, Grifton, and I have 2 children, both in the public schools in the Ayden area. About 2 years ago, I took a step away from the public schools in Pitt County, and I'm now a teaching instructor at East Carolina University. I loved working in Pitt County schools, but when I was given the opportunity to begin to work with our next generation of teachers and begin to teach our pre-service teachers how to teach kids to read, I felt that my reach was going to be more global. I was able to not only just help our Pitt County school students, but I can help students across the nation wherever our pre-service teachers go, although selfishly, I try to keep them here in Pitt County schools because I know ECU breeds excellent teachers. So I'd like for you to consider me for District 6 for Board of Education. Erin Kessel.
Thank you. Next, Jennifer Matthews, your opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. And I ditto everything that everybody says about thanking you so much. I really enjoy listening to all the other candidates as well. And I feel like as many of us have been on the same stage before, I still learn something new about all of them. So I really hope that it helps inform your vote. I am Jennifer Matthews, and I'm running for Board of Education for District 9, which is GR Whitfield, Chicod, Pectolis, and Hope, so out in the eastern part of the district, or of the county. I have 3 children currently in public school. I always joke that my last one started kindergarten this year, so I have 3 kids in the same school, which if you know, that's a big deal. And they'll be in the same school for the next 3 years, yes. I'm married to a high school social studies teacher. He is out at Conley, and he's also the girls golf coach out there. He's actually finishing up a match right now. And professionally, I'm a professor at ECU. Most of my work is involved in the community and making the community a better place and for all individuals. And I really like to focus on substance use prevention and trauma and building resilience and emotional regulation. And that translates directly into what we need in our schools. And I've already been partnering with Pitt County Schools for about 8 years on doing a lot of that work within the schools within our county. So again, Jennifer Matthews, District 9. I would appreciate your vote come November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. And opening statement, Bishop James Tripp.
Good evening. I'm James Tripp, presently serving District 3, all the schools north of the river. It has been a pleasure in the first 4 years of my term to serve on such an awesome board, with an awesome board. I would like to say that here in Pitt County, I think we have some of the best schools in the eastern part of North Carolina. My service to the board has been working with District 3 to make sure that all 6 schools get what they need. I'm the pastor of the great Holly Hill Church there in the Belleville community, and we just celebrated 157 years. I'm the 7th pastor of the church. I serve as our annual bishop, serve as our general bishop. I also serve as our first vice president of our national convention and have been serving in law enforcement. I started in 1981 with the Farmville Police Department. Then I come to Greenville and retired as chief deputy with the Pitt County Sheriff's Office under the leadership of Sheriff Mike Manning. My grandson is here with me. I have a wife. We have a daughter, son-in-law. My grandson attends Farmer Central, and our granddaughter attends Lake Forest. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go into our questions for the Board of Education candidates. Our first question. D.H. Conley is the only traditional public high school not designated for open enrollment. Some argue that school crowding should guide open enrollment status, while others argue all schools should be eligible for open enrollment. Where do you stand on this debate over open enrollment? We'll begin with Benji Forrest. Your response, limited to 90 seconds.
I'm glad that I've got that question, because I've been on record every time that that's come open that I believe that all the high schools ought to be open enrollment. Fairness is what I'm all about. And even though D.H. Conley does have a large population of students, once you go out there after about 9:30, you'll see that the parking lots are about a third empty. And a lot of those students go to Pitt Community College, which means that we still have room at D.H. Conley for a lot of students, or some students, to continue to go. Now, having said all of that, in open enrollment, making it open enrollment, that doesn't mean, you can put it in a lottery system, and you can pick those children out by a lottery system that could go where you would still have the opportunity to have the number of students enrolled that you would like, but at the same time, you would not have so many, and still be fair with those parents, that those kids that got picked out of a lottery type of system would continue to go. I talked with the athletic director about that, and he thought that was very, very fair. The other thing that you have to be careful about are things like competitions with athletics and those kinds of things. One's decision compounds different decisions. And that's the reason why I feel like, for the benefit of the entire county, keeping these high schools all together in open enrollment is the best thing to do, even though you may have to limit those populations that have been chosen. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron Kessel, same question, please.
Last spring, I went and met with the administration at D.H. Conley, and he gave me a tour. And he informed me that 18 of his teachers are working and teaching off of carts. That means 18 teachers do not have classrooms at D.H. Conley. He also informed me that if all the students did attend at the same time, there would be no space for at least 6 classes in session at one time. I'm not opposed to open enrollment. I selfishly say that Aiden Grifton, where my husband works, is a hidden gem that I continuously encourage my friends to send their children to, because I think it's a wonderful school, as is D.H. Conley and our other high schools. But I worry about capacity. We discuss consistently about overcrowding in our schools. And I worry that when you have a classroom full of 30 to 35 students, I've had a class of 30 fourth graders. It's not easy. Learning is not easy. So I'm not opposed to open enrollment in all of our schools, as long as we are willing to look at the numbers and the data and make sure that the class sizes are appropriate for student learning, classroom management, and teacher retention. So I'm good with open enrollment as long as I have the data and the numbers to prove that it is an appropriate and safe place for the students at those schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Matthews.
So I mentioned earlier that my husband teaches at Conley, and he talks every year about how he has 30 to 35 students in his class. He's out in a trailer, which he does have people during his planning period that are on the carts that come and use his classroom. So he doesn't actually get a planning period in his classroom to do the work. He often will tell you that he'll go to his truck and sit outside of the picnic tables if it's a nice day, and that's where he will do his planning, because there literally is nowhere for him to go. He spent time in the library because he needs to plan. And as a coach, he doesn't get after school like a lot of the other teachers do. So again, I'm all about open enrollment as well. I think that it's a great opportunity for some students who maybe want to go to a particular school for specific academic reasons. But Conley is busting at the seams. Even if you go later in the day, there's still a lot of people in a lot of those classrooms. And quite frankly, if you drive around, where is all the growth occurring? There's so many neighborhoods going up in that area, so it is only going to get bigger. So I think that we definitely need to take into account not just what's best for the students, but also for teachers who need to be teaching and have the capacity and resources to do a good job in the places where they're working. Thank you.
Thank you. Bishop Tripp.
As the others have stated, I'm in favor of open enrollment as long as we look at the capacity of the schools. I hate that D.H. Conley is not able to have open enrollment, but we have to, as a board, to make sure we're doing what's right and not having schools that are overcrowded, because just as sure as you're sitting here tonight, if something happened because the schools were overcrowded, then people will be knocking on our doors. Why you sit there and let the school be overcrowded? And so I think we have been fair. Benji voted the way he did. I voted my heart, and I felt that, you know, we should not put it in a position to be overcrowded, which it is at capacity. And we try to stick by the rules. We try to stick by what we say we're supposed to do and not allow schools to be overcrowded. And I believe we're doing the right thing for that. That area has grown tremendously and continues to grow. Eventually down the road, we may have to look at, as a board, doing something about D.H. Conley, even adding to D.H. Conley. But this is where we're at right now, and I think we're making the right decision.
Thank you. Speaking of data, our next question is related to data. Data recently released indicates that the academic performance in Pitt County schools improved during last year, with no school receiving a grade of F, according to a state report. What is your perspective on the school system's progress academically? Mr. Forrest.
The best thing about data, and you're looking at a student performance, is you always want to make sure that the data and that the tendencies continue to increase. And our student performance and our student growth continues to increase. Two reasons for that. Number one, the superintendent needs to be the instructional leader for the entire county, and then make sure that he has principals in place that are the instructional leaders for the entirety of the school. If you show me a good instructional leader principal in a school and they work over a period of time, I guarantee you that the data is going to show the results of that in an increase in student growth and performance. When a principal has the opportunity to put his or her staff together, when a principal has the opportunity to show their philosophy to those teachers and to that staff, then you're going to always see that performance level go up. I'm proud to say that we went up in 10 schools this year and continue to advance and move the needle in a positive direction. Just because we're moving the needle in the positive direction, though, y'all, we can't be satisfied. You can't have a standard of average. You got to continue to want to build a standard of excellence, and that's what I'm all about.
Thank you. Aaron Kessel.
Data. As a teacher, you hear about it every day. We had 21 schools meet or exceed growth this past year. I mean, it's incredible. And we had some schools that made some significant growth. I mean, they have put the work in. And we will continue to grow and continue to get better because that is what Pitt County Schools does. A concern of mine is teacher retention. In order to continue to grow our students, we need to have solid teachers with experience in the classroom. I'm consistently, in fact, this evening, seeing some of our most veteran teachers in the classroom. The ones that take our beginning teachers under their wings, give them their lesson plans, give them their resources, help them every day, and they're burned out. And if we continue to lose those veteran teachers, I worry that that data may not continue to increase. Pitt County Schools pours professional development into their teachers. I was raised as a teacher through Pitt County Schools. I can't tell you the amount of trainings I went through that I still use every single day in my life. But we can't lose those 15-plus year teachers. They are our backbone, and they are the major reason for that growth in our students. We have great beginning teachers. I help teach them. But our veterans are the key. And so I truly believe that to continue that growth and to continue to have our data excel as it is, we need to honor those teachers and continue to provide what they need to stay in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Matthews.
I think the report cards and the scores that were given out this year are tremendous to see. It really shows that we do have great staff, good leadership, and teachers who really want to be there and who want to give everything they have to the students that are in their classrooms. I still think that we can't just sit on those laurels, right? Like we need to continue to have progress. We need to continue to move forward. And there are some things that we definitely need to address. I agree with Aaron. Part of keeping those scores and keeping that progress that we're seeing is really devoting resources to our teachers. I mean, it really and as a part of that, we really need to do something to help maintain and keep them there. It's great that we have wonderful teachers. ECU puts out the most teachers of anywhere in the state, and they're good quality teachers, but there's only certain things that you can learn in the classroom. You need to be in your own classroom and experiencing that, and those veteran teachers do help provide that guidance, along with really great leadership in each of our schools. So yes, I think it's wonderful that we've had the progress and we're seeing the progress that we are, but I still think that we should not accept that some of the schools are even the schools. We need to be putting resources to all of those areas to help see those improve as well.
Thank you. Mr. Tripp.
Good evening again. I truly believe that the test results we got back from last year was very exciting. Very proud of Pitt County Schools, all of our teachers and staff that work with our children. Very proud of the 6 schools north of the river. They either met or exceeded both for the first time in a long time, all 6 schools. And I'm very proud of our retired superintendent, Dr. Linker, who have led Pitt County Schools, where we have districts that we're going to continue going forward with our interim superintendent, Dr. Lassiter, that we're going to continue. Those numbers are going to get even better. And again, we do need great teachers, and we need more teachers. And you can't blame a teacher if their economic status has to be increased and they have to take a job somewhere else. But we just have to make sure that when they leave, we find someone to replace them that will do an even greater job than they do. I can't blame a teacher for wanting to go move up higher. And this is what happens a lot of times. But we still have great staff in our Pitt County schools. And I'm encouraged, I'm excited about the future. I believe Dr. Lassiter is going to take us to even a higher height in the next few years.
With respect to the superintendent, following the retirement of Superintendent Ethan Lincoln, Steve Lassiter was appointed as interim superintendent. Lassiter is a native Thank you. That concludes our questions for our Board of Education candidates. We'll now allow each of you a closing statement, again limited to 90 seconds. And of course, we'll begin with you, Mr. Benjaforce.
It's a pleasure to be here again this evening. Let me share this with you. Pitt County Schools is an excellent institution for young people to learn. And I have been honored to serve you for 16 of those years, walking through the Ethan Linkers, moving into and transitioning to a Steve Lassiter. I've been able to create and help to create and champion where we can keep and maintain our teachers. And we do that through such things to currently 8%, and my goal is to get them to 10%. I think James will tell you that that's probably his goal as well. And once we begin to do that, we're moving in the right direction. Also, let me share this with you in closing. I've also been a champion to make sure that just because our teachers, we've looked after our teachers with the county commission, there's another group that really needs us to look into, and I have directed the superintendent to do that. And that's our classified staff and bus drivers. Y'all, it takes everybody together to teach our kids and provide for them an opportunity of excellence. And we've got to make sure that we have the highest morale. And so I thank you again for allowing me to be here. What an excellent group to speak to. And we'll see you on the campaign trail.
Thank you. Aaron.
can do to make it safe environment for all kids that go to our school, and all kids around the district, not just in certain areas. So I think that my personal plus professional lens will help and really do a good service by adding me to the board. So Jennifer Matthews, I'm going to remind you to flip the ballot over because we are all on the back. And bubble in Jennifer Matthews for District 9. Thank you.
Thank you. Bishop Tripp, your closing statement.
Thank you, Cornerstone, and all of you that come out tonight to hear what we had to say about what we're trying to do. I'm excited about seeking a second term on the Board of Education. The late Mary Blunt Williams came to me asking me to consider running, and I thought it was an honor for her to consider me to replace her in all the outstanding work that she's done. Since I've been on the board, I've learned so much about Pitt County schools and all that they do to educate our children. I'm a product of public school. My wife, I traveled all the way from a little place called Ralstonburg in Greene County to meet my wife there in Bethel. She graduated from North Pitt. Our daughter graduated from North Pitt. Our grandchildren are going to Pitt County schools. And I'm excited about what we're doing in Pitt County schools, the board working together. I think we have one of the best boards in Eastern North Carolina working together to serve all of our community, to serve all of our teachers and principals. And I want to say this about our bus drivers. I can't say it enough because I drove a bus when I was a teenager. It's an awesome responsibility. So I ask that when you see bus drivers, give them a hug. Tell them thank you. Those that work in the cafeteria, those that clean the schools, all these people are very important in the education of our children. We want clean, safe atmosphere for our children to attend school. And so my number one focus this year is safety, school safety. That is so, so important. Thank you.
Thank you. And this concludes our segment with our Pitt County Board of Education candidates. Again, we thank you for attending with us this evening. We'll conclude our program this evening by hearing from our county commissioners. We have two candidates with us this evening, and they have been patient and enduring with us, and we're most appreciative of that. Our candidates include Bob Edwards and Mac Manning. We'll start with opening statements, again limited to 90 seconds, and we'll hear from Bob Edwards first.
Again, thanks for organizing this event. Thanks for coming out. And my name is Bob Edwards. I'm running for Pitt County Commission District B. I've lived in Pitt County since 1995 when Terry and I moved our family here from the District of Columbia for me to start a second career teaching sociology at ECU. Terry's taught as a public school special ed teacher for 25 years, 13 of those I think it is here with Pitt County Public Schools. Our two sons went through Pitt County Public Schools from Elmhurst through Rose and then on to NC State. I recently retired from teaching at ECU, and I'm running for office for several reasons. One is, as we all know, this is a consequential election, and I just simply couldn't stay on the sidelines. I felt like I needed to get in the game, so to speak. I'm running with the overarching vision of working to improve the quality of life for all people in all parts of Pitt County. And I'd like you to, and ask you to trust me with your vote in November, and I'll spend the next 4 years earning your trust. Thanks.
Thank you. Mac Manning, your opening statement.
I must admit, I got a little stiff sitting there. My name is Mac Manning, and I'm running for county commissioner in District C, which is basically west of here along the river, then south around taking in Ayden, Winnable, and then a slice of Greenville, kind of in the middle portion of Greenville between Charles Boulevard and Evans Street. That's District C. And I am ready, willing, and able to take on this job as county commissioner. Ready because I have experience in county government, having worked with the sheriff's office for 30 years, served 12 years as sheriff, and I have worked with all the county departments in one way or another, and I'm familiar with a lot of the folks there. Not only that, I've been in public service since I was a teenager. When I joined the fire department at home as a volunteer in the rescue squad, and I eventually was elected as captain of the rescue squad. I'm willing because some of my friends, neighbors, and supporters asked me to run. I was inclined to serve, but I don't know that I would have stepped out on my own. But folks got behind me and said, hey, come run. And I'm able because my personal circumstances have changed in recent years to where I have time. And I need something to do, and I'd love to serve y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's move into our questions for our county commissioner candidates. First question. Throughout this year, Sheriff Paula Dance offered public criticism for failure to raise her pay. County commissioners went on to pass a budget without a pay raise for Sheriff Dance. Does Sheriff Dance deserve a raise? We'll hear from you, Bob Evans.
Nothing like going straight to the controversial question. I'm a great supporter of Sheriff Dance. I really believe in the kinds of reforms she's made in the sheriff's department, things like providing mental health care for detainees and for providing HVAC certification programs. I think she's done a tremendous job. I think if we look at the record, Sheriff Dance has had a string of cost of living increases in the years she's been here, not a merit pay increase, but a cost of living increases each year she's been here, as do all county employees. So her salary has been increased. And I think as I've read some of the comments on Facebook and other things, I think there's a perception in the county that Sheriff Dance is making to the penny today the same amount she was making when she first became sheriff. So I'm gonna do something I hope doesn't sound too political. I don't feel at this point like I understand the situation enough to say definitively whether I think she deserves a raise right now, a merit raise right now, or not. I think she's done a fabulous job, and I completely support what she's doing, and hope that you all give me the chance to work through this and think through it and make a decision. Thanks.
Thank you. Mac Manning.
I'm the one person in this room that can probably speak to this as good as anybody. There's not enough money to pay a sheriff for what they do, the time they spend, the sleepless nights that they are attending to the business of running the sheriff's office. So she deserves a raise. Cost of living is just that. It's keeping up with the inflation. It's not rewarding her for her efforts. And I think she's done a good job. I mean, she's taken the bull by the horns and solved some problems that were becoming, as I was leaving, for example, mental health. The breakup of the mental health system put a lot of people in jail in my last year or so as sheriff that she has worked to try to solve, to get those people out of the jail and get them to the services they need so they don't keep coming back. That's good work, and she deserves every bit of support I think we can give her. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question. Following one of the largest property value increases in the county's history, the county enacted a tax rate reduction of approximately 12 cents. but the reduction fell just a few cents shy of accomplishing revenue neutral status. As a result, the average county resident is expected to pay a bit more in property taxes this year. How do you respond to county residents perhaps seeing a slight increase in taxes? Bob Edwards.
One thing I would say is that there is a process in place for each of us to appeal our new valuation and to thereby appeal our new taxes. Something that I've thought for a long time is we get what we pay for, and we can't get something for nothing. And our county's growing. It's growing really rapidly. It's becoming much more complex and complicated. And it's gonna, I believe, cost more to provide quality services throughout the county. That may involve raising taxes. I don't think we can perpetually cut taxes, or as a revenue neutral, I think tax increase would be going to what Sheriff Manning suggested about or said about cost of living increases. A revenue neutral thing gives us the same amount in buying power that we've had. And I think that the county needs more capacity. It's been said that money doesn't pay for everything. It doesn't. There's a lot more to it than that. But we can't do something for nothing, and we get what we pay for. And I think a small tax increase is, I'll just say it, it's appropriate for us to be able to. The last thing I'll say is, if I get elected, please work overtime to hold the county commission accountable for what we do with your money and how we spend it. Thanks.
Thank you. Mac Manning.
Now, your question is about the ad valorem tax increase.
Yes.
In talking with citizens, I've been surprised. About half the folks say, I don't mind paying more. I want to pay my fair share, though. And that seems to be 50% of the folks feel that way. Now, some folks have complained about the taxes going up. I know my tax bill did. And I'm not sure. I haven't balanced all the numbers. I wasn't there making the decision, but could we have gone a little closer to revenue neutral? I would probably have liked to have seen it so that the shock wouldn't have been so much on folks. But then again, I was talking to a fellow who just sold some houses. He owned 2 houses side by side. And I asked him, I said, the offer you got on your houses, was it what the county recently evaluated them at? He said, oh, it was a lot more. He said, I said, so you're satisfied that he said, yeah. He said, but now if I wasn't selling my house, I'd have probably been down there complaining too. So it just depends on your perspective. The higher value, you're building equity in your home. So that's a good thing. Because when you get ready to sell it, you're going to be able to sell it for more. Just like the fellow I was talking to, he's selling it for a lot more than even what the county has evaluated it at right now. My time's up.
Thank you. Right on time. We'll now move into our closing statements from each of you, again, in the essence of time. And members, you do have an opportunity to meet these candidates if they'll stay after. So closing statements limited to 90 seconds, beginning with you, Bob Edwards.
Excuse me. I just come back to asking you to trust me with your vote. I think that for our county to progress and become the kind of community we all want it to be, We need to ensure that our public schools are adequately funded. I think the county commission plays a big role in that. I think that things like the increase in property taxes gives the county the capacity to do things like considering raising the county contribution to teacher salaries and all other bus driver, custodian, nutritional staff salaries that we need to do. The county needs to recruit economic development that's both sustainable and equitable, and not for, well, I'll just leave it at that because I'm short on time. And we need to work to ensure that all communities and all people in the county are represented and have equal access to county services. And we need to work to ensure that the voices of all people from all parts of the county and all people in the county are heard and listened to by the county commission. And I pledge to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. Mac Manning.
Well, again, my name is Matt Manning, and I'm running for county commissioner in District C. I want to be your advocate. I want to be the person that represents you on that county board, because that would be my job. Sometimes when you're fighting City Hall, so to speak, County Hall, you can feel very small. And I know what it's like to be fighting an uphill battle. And sometimes if you have a conflict or you have a need or something in your community, I want to be your representative so you can call me and we can address it and try to help with the problem. This is a great county. We have a lot of advantages here that a lot of other counties don't. But I want to be a good steward of your tax dollars and make sure that we're getting the most out of our resources. And our most valuable resource is our personnel. We're having a hard time hiring law enforcement officers. We're having a hard time hiring bus drivers and teachers. And even our volunteers, we're trying to recruit volunteer firemen and volunteer rescue squad members. The position of the board needs to be to support all those people and make it attractive to get the best and the brightest folks into those jobs. And that's what I want to be for you in serving you as your advocate and handling your tax dollars so that we get the biggest bang for our buck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, thank you to all of our candidates who participated in our forum this evening. We'll now transition our program to recognitions and announcements by Deacon Jared Pittman. And again, as a reminder, if you have a question, some of these candidates will join us afterwards and you'll have the opportunity to ask them directly. Thank you.
Good evening. I know we're crunch for time, and I'm not going to hold you up too long, but if you will, just join me with a round of applause for these candidates, these brave candidates who expose themselves to the light and answer your questions tonight. And if you also join me in thanking and congratulating and just for our moderator who did such an excellent job. I got to say, I've seen him do this at least 4 or 5 times, and every time he's just impressive with the rules and governing and make sure everything's in order. So please join me in thanking Mr. Robert. To all the candidates, we thank you for sharing your time and insights with us this evening. Your perspectives are vital in helping our community make informed decisions. To everyone who attended both in person and online, we thank you for your engagement, and that's what makes these events so meaningful. I would also like to take a moment to thank and honor a local hero and trailblazer that's a member of this church. His name is Mr. Ed Carter, and he's the first African-American mayor of the city of Greenville. Your leadership and dedication paved the way for many and continues to inspire us all. Thank you for your service and the enduring impact that you have on this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do have one question. As a resident of Greenville and of course the Pitt County, as far as the tax issue is concerned, we could get a double whammy when you increase taxes. So I hope you consider the fact that that could happen and make sure that everything is equitable. You understand what I mean? Thank you.
Still serving, I see. Yes, sir. And remember, your voice matters, and participating in discussions like this is a crucial step towards shaping the future of this community. As Election Day approaches, let's continue to have these conversations. Let's continue to ask questions, and most importantly, make sure, let us continue to vote and flip that ballot over and vote for all the candidates. Before we close, I'd like to thank a few of our sponsors and partners this evening. Of course, Cornerstone Missionary Baptist Church, led by our shepherd, the Reverend Dr. Stephen Green Howard, who had the foresight this year to come up with a community engagement committee, who was the brains behind all of what you see here today, the planning, the coolers, the chairs, the lights, and everything that you see. So if you'll take a moment, if you're on that committee, if you'll stand for a moment or raise your hand so you can be acknowledged. We'd also like to thank the National Council of Negro Women of Pitt County, the Wilson Rocky Mount Tarboro chapter of the Links Incorporated, the Pitt County National Pan-Atlantic Council of Pitt County, Democracy NC, and the Pitt County Faith-Based Committee, as well as the Churches Outreach Network led by the Reverend Rodney Coles. There are a few events that I want you all to add to your schedule that concern the candidates in this upcoming election. The first being on October 11th, there will be a candidates forum at 6:30, and it's sponsored by the National Pan-Atlantic Council of Pitt County. And it will take place at the Drew Still Center, again, October 11th at 6:30. And also, the following day on October 12th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., there will be a voting revival at Sycamore Hill Baptist Church, and it's a candidate meet and greet. So if you all would please like to come out to a more relaxed setting where you're just mingling with your constituents and less stress behind that mic. So from October 12th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at Sycamore Hill Baptist Church, a voting revival. So thank you again for being a part of our evening tonight. We hope that you have a safe and blessed evening and safe travels as you, more updates. Also, I did thank one of the crews that agreed to video this forum for our viewers at home that were not able to make it. Awesome Radio, which is 106.9 FM. Thank you for your help and support. Again, my name is Jared. It's been a pleasure to have this event at Cornerstone Missionary Baptist Church, and we thank you candidates for joining us this evening. Thank you.
Okay. James, Mac, it's good to see y'all. It's always good to be president. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Alex, take care of yourself. Good to see you, sir. You too. Yes, sir. Enjoyed everybody's comments. Good to see you again. Yeah. Enjoyed your comments. Enjoyed your comments very much. Sir, good to see you. Always good to see you. Oh, yeah? Yeah, we got Jason's comment now. Jason Collins. We had Romeo before the, or I guess we had. That was his father-in-law. We had Shelton, and then Shelton took over for Romeo. Oh, yeah.